I guess maybe it's kind of sexist on my part. All the males that have come in, basically I've implied that if you hurt my daughter in any way, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But I've never felt like saying that to you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cassie. I'm 23 and live in Colorado. I have an amazing girlfriend named Tracy and a loving family. But recently, Tracy and I moved back in with my parents while I deal with some health conditions. So I wanted to take some time to sit down with them and ask them questions I've always wanted to know the answers to. Do you regret anything about how you raised me?
My girls were little, we tried to get you into dresses and into everything else, but at one point it was just obvious that that wasn't who you were. And so instead of crossing my arms and stomping my feet, I think we found ways to kind of get around those things, and I'm happy that we didn't force you into a mold.
Do you think there has been a double standard with relationships compared to me and my straight sister?
Oh boy.
For Grace, it wouldn't happen under my roof. There wouldn't be a man up there in her room living here. It's a pretty simple reason. If she got pregnant under my roof, that would be bad. So it is a double standard there.
Before you started dating, you were friends. And so, this is my friend Tracy, and Tracy's gonna come over. Then once it transitioned, it was kind of like a bell that couldn't be unrung.
So I think the only, but a very big double standard is obviously that she can live here and be in my room and such, but everything else, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever is under your roof, you treat everybody the same.
We also wanted to include my sister Grace because she's my best friend.
Do you ever wish I was straight?
You're you. I can't imagine. You're just our Cassie.
I mean, sometimes it's kind of nice to, I think, have like the women loving women perspective, just because I think I have a lot of issues when it comes to like finding good quality men in my life, being straight, and so it's kind of cool seeing what I should get, or like kind of the level at which I should be loved and respected that I don't always get with men. But I think sometimes you don't necessarily get that side because you're not straight, of like what I go through and what I face with that kind of side of partners.
Were you worried about Tracy living with us before you moved back in?
A little bit. I was worried about the relationship between you two, like you guys and Tracy, like fraying. Like I was worried that maybe you'd find things that you didn't like living with her, it would be a burden and you'd build up animosity towards her.
I know you were nervous though, because I know it's Cassie. She always says something positive to me first. Dad, the lawn looks great. I'm like, thanks. And she goes, I want to talk to you about something. Let me sit down.
Yeah, that's how it always goes too. Were you worried about meeting my parents?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't see how you couldn't be.
Yeah, so I was super nervous meeting your parents. I mean, when you care about somebody, you just want to make a great first impression when you meet their parents. And so I was just a bundle of nerves when I met you guys.
With our generation, I think we've come so far with accepting the LGBTQ community. When we were in high school, nobody said anything about anything. It was very under the table and hush hush. And so I'm so happy that you are in a time that that's not such a problem.
What would you do if someone you were close with didn't accept me?
Well, for me, that strikes home because that was my biggest worry. If somebody doesn't accept you for who you are, then in my mind, I probably don't really need that person in my life.
I agree. What business is it theirs to accept you or not accept you, as far as I'm concerned, and if they don't, then this is my top priority in my life, and they can be expendable.
My mother is one of the most religious people I know, and she was, I think, taken back at first. She's like, oh, I didn't know that, but,
Yeah.
But there was no question.
Oh, that she loved me and wanted me.
Absolutely.
Well, that just shows too that you can have someone who's very, very religious and has done that their whole life, and that is their top priority in their life is God, and yet she's one of the most important people in my life too, and she could still accept me and Tracy for who we are and be happy for us.
What is one of the hardest things about moving back home?
I think one of the hardest things would have to be knowing that you guys were supposed to be empty nesters, but moving back home, it kind of invaded your own space?
I feel like it's kind of a second coming. We lost you to college for a while, and so now that you're back again, we get to have this time to see Cassie. We get the down and the dirty to kind of really, how is your dog going? What happened exactly today? And how are you doing now? So being able to do our family things, go on our walks, go to the gym, do our TV nights, I love it.
I guess coming from like a non-traditional family, like my mom was a single mom with 3 kids, so she worked all the time and we didn't really hang out. So I was very like independent. So moving here and like navigating the traditional household where you have like 2 parents and you have to be like dependent on each other. It was hard for me to get used to, but I also really enjoy it. And also just trying to navigate where my place is.
So, I mean, we want you guys to start on the right foot. We don't want you to move too quick either.
What's one piece of advice you would give me to live a long, happy life or have a good relationship?
I think it's rampant that 2 people get together and then at the first sign of disharmony in the relationship, they break up or get a divorce. I think that's absurd. But otherwise, I would just give advice that never go to bed mad. That's important.
That's something I've carried, just so you know, too, with me because of you.
Talk things out. I mean, if you have an issue, if you keep it buried, I know it can explode and then there's a full-on argument, where if you kind of nip it in the bud and just talk about things, and if you don't ever feel you can talk to each other, it's just, then don't be ashamed to get a mediator, but don't just give up. Work at it.
It's not Disney. We don't come home every night and swoon in the kitchen and dance to music. It's working through it and then understanding each other's shortfalls. I think every shortfall has an underside to it that's a bright light.
My mom doesn't even explain it anymore as like my sister and then Tracy, who's Cassie's girlfriend, she just says my 3 daughters. Like, it's funny because she says that all the time now. She's just like, my 3 daughters.